Chargers tush pushing on Lower Broad.
Why does God hate Chargers fans?
Working hard or hardly working, baby.
Hold up. It's the Chargers Squad. Everything Los Angeles Chargers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Chargers Squad Show, starting now.
Well, hello and welcome to the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Daniel Wade, half of the Locked On Daily Chargers podcast, and of course, KENJON BARNER, KB, who today has shown me the way home. Show me the way home, baby. Yeah. I was like, should I wear my Chargers hat or my Dodgers hat today? And then KB's got the Dodgers hat on. So here we go, baby. Hoisting trophies in LA. Hoisting the hardware. But today it was all about the Chargers in Nashville. Got a bit of a challenge that I don't think they expected. Well, you know, that's hooked to injuries. We'll get to that. We'll also get to the running game. But I think the biggest question that came up right at the end of the game, what is the Charger version of the tush push? The Charger charge. I liked Ross Tucker's take of the bolt bump. They came up with the power surge.
Power surge.
I
like that one. Yeah.
You do? Okay. I Chargers charge is okay, but I like the bolt bump. I'm you know, that's clever, but you know, whatever. It worked. And at the end of it, 27-20, the final, the Chargers win it. The running game, which, you know, I always like to analyze Harbaugh at the half with the sideline reporter and see what he says, because usually it's nothing. The last couple of weeks, though, it's been relatively accurate and on point. Today he said we got to run the ball a little bit more. 57 yards and 44 yards from Herbert and Patterson. Vidal added 30 for 131. D-Wade, did they run the ball enough today?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you include Justin Herbert in it, it may be enough. I think it's hard game flow wise, right? Because I don't think they were expecting to be down 14-7 without the Titans scoring a single offensive point. So I think that played into it a little bit. But to me, until Omarion Hampton comes back, you know, with how impressive Vidal has been, like that has been a nice thing. But I don't know if you have the running backs right now that you can count on week in and week out to, you know, put up 100 yards when they need to. I thought the bigger story in the running game was Justin Herbert, especially on the drive that made it a 10-point game. You felt the urgency from him, right? You saw a couple big scrambles. He has the truck stick against the defensive end, which we don't see much of, usually pretty responsible, and then takes it in himself, slides into home safely, as I'm sure Dodgers fans like to see. But I thought that was the bigger story. I thought that the running backs were so-so, but I did think they got some good push late in that game, right? When the Titans knew they were going to run the ball, they were still able to get positive yardage, weren't setting up in 2nd and 13s and making it just kind of unfeasible to get a first down.
KB, what do you think about Patterson? I thought he ran the ball well today, and I think they found something there.
Listen, the hardest thing in the world to do is run the ball in 4-minute football.
Yep.
And to see how effective he was in that area of the field, in that phase of the game, I love what I saw from the young cat. You know, for somebody who was sitting at home, sitting on the couch, or had not played in a major NFL game over the past couple of seasons, he looked really, really good.
This is the big storyline today. We won, but it feels like a loss because of Joe Alt out with an ankle on the cart, right ankle. I believe that's the same one he banged up before. But here's the question, as KENJON BARNER is our ankle sprain specialist. Is if that's a low ankle sprain and he was dealing with a high ankle sprain before, are those different? Is that compounding or is that better?
Well, based on, you know, my medical background and you know, this area of the field, I'm hoping that he didn't re-aggravate the injury that already existed. And based on how that guy dove, well, I don't want to say dove, makes it seem like he did it on purpose, but how he went into Joe's leg, that just doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. Having it being on the same exact leg, I'm not too upbeat about that. I'm not too optimistic about it.
Yeah, we spent so much time talking about it, Daniel. The offensive line was not great today. 11 hits, 6 sacks. Herbert will not make it through this year, period, says Robert. I look, Herbert's tough. He's a big guy. I think he could, and we'd all be surprised like we were about the Dodgers winning the World Series. But yeah, the probability is not in Herbert's favor if this keeps up.
No, it's not. I mean, and the funny thing is there are some ties, Jim Harbaugh, Andrew Luck, right? Like that's kind of the level of pressure he's been under this year, where it's like Andrew Luck, obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But when you do it year in and year out and you keep taking those hits and those compound, yeah, I mean, it takes a toll. And, Justin Herbert makes it through this game. They're lucky he's kind of superhumanly built, unlike most quarterbacks. But I still think that, yeah, it's unsustainable to say the least, because, I mean, we're seeing what this team is doing right now, struggling at times against a one-win team. What do you think that looks like with Trey Lance back there? You know what I mean? Like, I like Trey Lance as a backup, but this team only wins if Justin Herbert's out there. So even if you're talking about something that costs him, 2 games or a game and a half, you might just be chalking up 2 L's in the record column. So I just think that it is unsustainable, but I think it's just kind of more frightening how quickly it just nosedived after you lose your tackles. Obviously, it's so hard to replace those guys, but like, man, that's why I said God hates Charger fans at the beginning of the show, because it's like, yeah, you win the battle, but it does feel like you're losing the war. And this was a huge win for the Chargers to get to 6-3, because it feels like they need that breathing room with some of the games they have coming up, and now a couple more crucial offensive line injuries. Like, we're talking about Joe Alt. Like, Bobby Hart had been a godsend, man. Like, Bobby Hart, dude, talking about coming off your couch. I mean, with the running back injuries, I thought KENJON BARNER might be getting off his couch and getting a call from Joe Ortiz. But like, Bobby Hart came in and stole Trey Pipkins' job. Let's just say how it is, right? Like, they were trying to kind of beat around the bush a little bit when talking about it. Like, yeah, Trey could have played, but he wasn't all the way there, but we did put him in garbage time. It's like, no, Bobby Hart stole that job, and for good reason. He was playing exceptionally well in the 3 games leading up to this. And of course, you finally go into a game, maybe for the first time this season, feeling really good about who your 2 tackles are. And you leave the game feeling like you're back to square one, and we're going to be running out, tackles 5 and 6 for the next couple weeks, potentially.
You talk about Herbert taking the hits that he's taking, the analogy of a piñata, right? You can keep beating on that piñata, eventually that piñata is going to bust. And so with, Herbert, even when he runs the ball, I don't like him taking the contact or him initiating the contact that he does.
Listen, I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah.
He's not quite lowering his shoulder, but he's taking on defensive linemen.
And that's crazy. Again, to not even attempt to lower your shoulder is absolutely mind-boggling to me. If you're going to do that, you want to protect yourself, but I don't want to see, I mean, this isn't Cam Newton we're talking about, somebody who's bigger than defensive ends and who's the biggest guy on the field almost when he's on the field. So I don't want to see Herbert taking unnecessary contact. He's taken enough, I always say this, I could do bad on my own, all by myself, right? And if you're going to be taking contact like that while you're running the ball on top of what you're taking because the offensive line can't protect, you're putting yourself at a much higher rate or a much disadvantage of possibility of getting hurt.
Yeah, we seemingly talk about this every week, and the Hart storyline is pretty interesting. Captain 08E says, need to trade for an O lineman. Yeah, thanks for that, Captain Obvious.
That's why the fans be on you, Pete.
His name is Captain. I mean, could you have said it on a any better for me? Need to trade for some O linemen. And then a couple, then Marvin says, no one trading us for O line. That's fair. And Daniel's brought that up many times over the last few weeks. But look, they went and found Hart, and that was fantastic, and it was working out. And hopefully, I don't know what his injury is, but hopefully it's not bad. And the storyline through the week leading into this game and prior was that the Titans are up for the option of making deals. They've said, hey, we're open, come sit down at the table and let's talk. So I don't know if we saw anybody on the Titans offensive line that, hey, we could use that guy. But it was the timing of this game, I think, for the Chargers. Don't be surprised if somebody from this Titans team ends up on the Chargers soon, because the people and the Chargers are open for dealing. So the question becomes, Daniel, did you see anybody on the other side? Like, throw it out there, like start prognosticating.
I mean, do you want, a lineman from the side that gave up 6 sacks in the Chargers case, or the lineman on the side that gave up 4 sacks in the Titans case? I mean, I think there's one thing we know. The Chargers love former Titans. I mean, look all up and down their roster. Hassan Haskins, Tier Tar, Bud Dupree, Elijah Molden. Last year was Christian Fulton. Like, there is a connection between these two teams, especially defensively. But I think offensively, like, at this point, you're trading for a reserve offensive lineman because even the bad teams aren't going to want to hang their young quarterbacks out to dry out there, even in a lost season. But it does feel like, you know, someone like an Evan Neal from the Giants, who's a healthy scratch every week, even if he's been bad, like, you need something. You need to try to turn every stone. Bobby Hart was a, you know, great indicator of that. But how many guys can you pull off the street and expect that they're going to go in there and play at the level that Bobby Hart did? So I think for this game to happen and for these two injuries specifically to happen a couple days before the trade deadline does send, you know, a bright red notice to Joe Ortiz, where it's like, if these guys are going to be missing a couple weeks, there's really kind of no level of offensive lineman that you shouldn't be at least entertaining a trade for, because without those two tackles, you saw it in this game, everything spiraled for the Chargers offensively for the most part. They need help in a very dire manner. They can't really be, you know, turning down any phone calls at this point. You got to be calling basically every, you know, 31 teams in the league and see if they're willing to give you something.
Yeah, KB, I thought last week, you know, we talked a lot about how they were able to get the ball to playmakers in interesting ways. It didn't feel like they needed to do that all that much. It was nice to see them salt this game away at the end by giving the ball to Patterson and just, you know, pounding it out down the middle. That was fantastic. But again, I come back to, I love when Herbert runs the ball, but I think I'm really on the fence. I think they need to be kind of more selective about when they call it, because they didn't need it today, right? But it is nice to have it when you need it. So I don't think they need to waste it kind of on this game.
I did like the design call on the 2nd and 7, though. That naked bootleg, he ran out to the left side that they ended up reviewing, calling him short. That was a really well-timed one where he had at least a good chance to protect himself. What scares me, Pete, is the stiff arm. You know what I mean? I know he's been throwing that stiff arm out there, but a couple years ago, 2023, when he had broken fingers on both hands, one of those injuries was because his hand and a finger got stuck in a face mask. I mean, that's just a $250 million hand that you can't really afford to be getting caught up in a defender's face mask. So I totally agree with both of you. I mean, it did feel like at times in this game they did need him to run, but they also have to trust him that he's going to protect himself. And at the same time, when you're taking those hits plus the hits in the pocket, like Kenyon was saying, like, it's just too much. So I think that well-designed quarterback keeper, most of them are coming in scrambles, right? Not design quarterback runs. Right. But I did think he did a pretty good job on the touchdown on that 2nd and 7 of calling his number and having it be, you know, a chance for him to at least take limited contact.
I'm just going to say it. My favorite play in football is and continues to be the naked bootleg. It seems like nobody can ever defend it, and I just love it every time they do it.
When Peyton did it, it was the best because no one ever thought Peyton Manning was going to run. So it's like when every defender was biting on that naked bootleg every single time, and he just walk in.
But here's a question, KB, that Ross Tucker brought up, and I kind of agree. And I don't think we've discussed it from the standpoint of, I don't think it's something you can change in Justin Herbert's head. That chip is where it is, and it is what it is. But when it comes to throwing the ball away, he doesn't really do it all that much until it's too late, or, you know, it's kind of not something he thinks about, you know, when there are times when he should and could save himself, save the field position, and just be safer by throwing the ball away. What do you think that is? Is that just he's not built that way?
Listen, as a quarterback, you have to be built that way, right? Because as a quarterback, you always want to put your team in the best position possible. And sometimes throwing the ball away is putting your team in the best position possible, you know, versus losing 5 to 6 or 7 yards getting sacked. And Ross was absolutely correct. There were a couple of times this evening where Herbie should have thrown the ball away, whether or not, you know, obviously we don't know what he's seeing or what he's looking at, but every quarterback, you have to have that clock in your mind, that clock that's going off. You have to be able to feel that. And I think Herbert can take some pressure off of this offensive line by, hey, okay, my first read's not there, my second read's not there. I know I can make a play if I try to extend it, but sometimes the best play to make is just to throw the ball away to live on to the next one.
All right, 27-20 the win today. It was a little scary early on. We'll get to the start of this game, and we'll get to the defense after the break. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, it's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. Pete Fox, Daniel Wade, Monday through Friday with the Locked On Daily Chargers podcast. And, of course, KENJON BARNER and Jim Daniels and I do our squad show on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, sometimes Thursdays. But there's a midweek version as well. An addition, I guess, is the best way to describe it. From a defensive perspective, to me today, it felt like, C+, B-. I didn't think it was terrible, but it could have been better. I happened to just key in on a couple of series in the second half when I thought it was better, but there was at times where I was questioning the effort level. And I think maybe that's up 10 late in the game. You're not going to put too much on the line. You're feeling pretty comfortable, but this was the series that led to the field goal for the Titans to make it a 7-point game. The broadcasters were saying that they were bringing pressure from the left side, and I looked up and it was Bud Dupree, but he got held once, so I can't criticize him for that. I was like, how do you miss that hold? I've seen a lot less be called a hold. But then a couple plays after that, the next two plays, just felt like he was kind of going through the motions, trying to run into the guy in front of him, as opposed to, the arm hook and get around and get to the quarterback. When you guys, did any of you other guys notice that the way I did? And was the effort maybe a little dialed down because of the timing of, the position of the game, the score of the game, and whatnot? Ultimately, it didn't matter. It didn't affect anything. But I look at that and go, probably could have had a little bit more, but was it necessary? Really, no is the answer to that question. So how would you look at the defensive effort today, getting after the quarterback? In the comments, people are like, go get Myles Garrett. And I'm like, we need Myles Garrett doesn't play offensive line.
Almost cursed. Please go get Myles. Yeah. Please.
So what are your thoughts on the D line today, Daniel Wade?
It's tough because, obviously, let's think about how many points they really gave up, right? When you give up a punt return touchdown and you throw a pick six, that's 14 spotted to them right away. They only get 20 for the game, right? So basically, you didn't give up a touchdown for the entire game defensively. But I understand what you're saying. First of all, Bud Dupree, that's a separate conversation for me. But just because I haven't really been high on him, and I think obviously now having Odafe Owe in the mix to go along with Thule and Khalil Mack, Odafe Owe, awesome. 2 sacks in this one. Now 4 sacks in 4 games with the Chargers, had 0 with the Ravens so far this year. But I did think where the Chargers kind of absolved themselves defensively, Pete, on those drives where DAIYAN HENLEY getting the tackle on Tyjae Spears to keep him short, force that third down before that field goal right there. But more than that, on 3rd and 2, coming physical, showing the effort, and stuffing that right there. I mean, you give up a touchdown right there, it's a different game. You give up a field goal, you feel okay about it. But you're deep in your own territory. The bend but don't break has to not break. And then you go back to the series to start the second half for the Titans, where, again, a little loose between the 20s. You give up some chunk plays. You give up a dump off that goes for 30 yards. But it comes down to a 4th and goal from the 1-yard line, and you stiffen up, right? And you get a stop right there, and you get the ball back for your offense. So I like certain parts of it. I definitely think some plays got a little loose, but I do think that the score is going to be ballooned by, a couple of things the Chargers defense didn't really have much to do with, right? I mean, they gave up 6 points against the Tennessee Titans team that has a bad offense. So, I'm bullish on what the Chargers did defensively, but I would say that just because it worked against the Titans and you were able to get off the field in those situations against the Titans doesn't mean it's going to work for you down the road against better teams. But I thought the Chargers defense did enough.
KB, That
was-
red zone stop was fantastic, the third and the fourth down. But on that series at the 11-minute mark, 2 blown coverages. Ryan Manor was wide open. What did you see there?
I'm not sure what they did, but it definitely was a blown cut. There was a miscommunication. Anytime you see a guy that wide open, there's some sort of miscommunication. There's something went haywire. That just doesn't happen. So whether it was miscommunication between the players, whether it was a guy having his eyes in the wrong place at the wrong time, a guy getting caught with his hand in a cookie jar, they took advantage of it. But
A lot of young guys out there too, especially in that
a lot
secondary.
of young guys. Yeah. So, the defense it's all about communication, right? And I don't understand why defenses don't communicate more. There's not enough guys that communicate across the board on defense. Who cares if they know the coverage? You still have to go out there and execute, but help your guys. The guy to my right there should never be a time where he doesn't know what he's doing if I know what we have going on. And far too often this season, going back to the beginning of the season, we've seen a lot of guys out of position and blowing coverages just because there is a lack of communication. But I want to go back to the D line for a second. We talked about Bud Dupree earlier in the season. When you're coming in to spare a guy, like nobody's game planning for you. So I'll continue to go back and say that the expectations of Bud Dupree were based off of when he wasn't the guy in the lineup with Khalil Mack in the lineup, right? But he would come in to spare those guys, and he would show up in spurts and he would flash, and it builds up. Oh, well, Bud Dupree, Khalil Mack goes down. Oh, it's okay. But he's not Khalil Mack. And I don't want to disrespect the guy's talent or anything like that, but it's a completely different ball game where people are looking at you when eyes are on you and they know what to expect. But not only that, we got to talk about Tier's Hart. I'm starting to hear his name more for penalties than I am for him making plays. Like it seems like every single week you're doing something ignorant. Like, what are we doing? Every single week you're getting a penalty for unnecessary roughness, unsportsmanlike. Like, come on, bro. Like, lock in. What are we doing?
Started with the Travis Kelce slap too.
Yeah,
it was cute when it was the Travis Kelce slap and the Chargers were upsetting the Chiefs in Brazil. Not as cute, and close games against bad teams when you really can't afford to lose those yards. I think it's a good point, Kenyon.
Yeah. Chargers also today got the third down conversion stat in line by the end of the game, but early in the second half they were 1 of 6, 1 of 7, something to that effect, and they are the best team in the league in third down conversions, which is kind of a backhanded compliment because they're in so many third down conversions. It's like, hey, you're surprisingly good at this. Why is it a surprise? Anyway, they got it down to 7 of 13, but in the end, that's a decent number. So you could look at that and go, what's going on there? But the fact is they're just in a lot of third down situations, and I think that's the bigger issue. But the good news is a little better in the red zone today, 3 of 4. So that's
back-to-back weeks.
Something, 2 weeks in a row that they've been much better in the red zone. Is that play calling, D Wade, or is that just execution against inferior opponents?
Yeah, I think play calling is some of it for sure. I think one of the ones that stood out to me, which I thought was much better from the Chargers, is attacking the end zone when you're not in the low red zone, inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5-yard line. And I'm talking about the 19-yard touchdown to Quentin Johnston, because that counts as a red zone touchdown.
Beautiful throw.
Taking those shots when you have a little bit more space. Like Justin Herbert's big arm doesn't matter as much when the defense only has to cover 12, 13 yards of space, right? It just doesn't. You can fit some tight window throws in there. But that was one positive part of it, I thought, was just, hey, even, once you're from the 19-yard line, start taking some shots, right? While you have the space and everything's a little less condensed. Also, shout out to Quentin Johnston, man. Not going to show up in the box score as a super huge game for him, but 2 of the most impressive catches I've seen from him, that over-the-shoulder catch in the end zone outside of the, stretched arms of the defender right there over the shoulder, which is something he struggled with. And then Justin Herbert calling his number on a third down where they knew pressure was going to come. He throws a perfect back shoulder throw to him down the sideline, makes a great adjustment. But it was that attacking the end zone before you're inside the 10-yard line, I thought was a good thing for the Chargers red zone offense. And the other thing is Justin Herbert taking it himself, right? If it allows it. You obviously don't want him taking those big hits, but the one thing we haven't really seen in the red zone is the Chargers calling his number. He waltzes in for an easy touchdown in that regard. So even if you can get the defense, Kenyon, to pause for a second because they think Justin Herbert might take off and score that touchdown like you did in this game. That's helpful for everybody.
Yeah.
So to see Quentin Johnston getting in the end zone again, the Chargers attacking from, a little further out, and Justin Herbert taking it in himself in the red zone, I thought that was a really positive progression for this Chargers red zone offense that has struggled a lot of the year.
Yeah.
Kenyon, I know you love that Scott Madlock touchdown early on.
I do.
That's what I should have said. Get Scott Matlock more involved in the red zone.
Right? Yeah, you love to see the big fellas get the ball and get in the end zone. They don't get the opportunity enough. So when they do get it, you got to love it.
Yeah, that got the scoring started for the Chargers after a interception from Cody Barton on the second play of the game. So that wasn't a great start.
I wonder what the FanDuel odds were that. Scott Matlock to score the first touchdown of the game, you probably would have got FanDuel plus like 4,000 on that one. Could have made some good money.
For sure.
All right, Chargers a 27-20 win in Nashville at Nissan over the Titans, who are now winless at home for almost a year, not over, but right around a year. They have not won in Nashville, which is tough for the Titan fans. Chargers 3-1 on the road, 6-3 overall, and we're all now looking at the scoreboard to see if Houston can upend Denver. Is that game finally yet? Still showing 15 all on the 2-minute mark.
That'd be crazy. CJ Stroud out with a concussion early in that game too. The Broncos are weird, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Broncos win at 18.
Broncos won.
All right, we'll take the break. Come back and get into a little bit more of the offensive display here from Herbert to the receivers. We've talked about it a bit with Quentin Johnston's day, but other guys in that box score as well that need to be discussed. So Locked On Chargers postcast or squad show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel, where you can find Daniel and David Monday through Friday with the daily Locked On Chargers podcast. All right, today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show brought to you by Supply House. When your opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. What? 280,000 available parts. So just about everything you need for plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brand in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need those parts for your project faster, Supply House has next day delivery. That is, in fact, a game changer. Join the free Trade Masters program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line where you can talk to a real human being. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free. It is supplyhouse.com, and you use the promo code SH, Supplyhouse, NFL5, and you'll get 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. So we've all been pretty excited about what we've been seeing from Gadsden as a target for Justin Herbert, who obviously has taken to him quickly because of his productivity. And once again, ARANDA GADSDEN leads the way for the Chargers, 5 receptions, 68 yards, no touchdowns. But another solid day and doing what he does, which I'm always a fan of when they're in that 12 and 13 personnel, when he blocks and then rolls off it and is kind of like the safety valve. KB, does that become a situation where the defense starts to read that, or does that play going to be there for him as long as he does the job on the front end of it with the blocking?
I think that play it's a 2-part play, right? As long as he's really selling the initial start of the play, that play will be there. Because as a defender, if you're selling block, if you're selling run, if you're selling, I gotta buy it. I gotta believe it. I have a responsibility, and I can't just completely ignore my responsibility. That's how big plays happen. So as long as he does his job in the first phase of that, this play will be there throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, does he continue? I mean, look, he's been really good, Daniel. Do you feel like he's continuing to improve and get better?
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, it's hard to say he's improving, getting better, just because it feels like he's just been that guy since they've made him this big of a part of the offense. Like, it feels like he just already is such an established veteran and such a, surefire target for Justin Herbert, where like, you get the targets. It's your, what you do with it is how much Justin Herbert's going to trust you. And it's hard to say there's many other guys on this offense right now he trusts more than ARANDA GADSDEN. I mean, Pete, we're talking about 4 consecutive games now of at least 5 catches and 68 yards. Like that's the baseline for him over the last 4 weeks. And we'll see how teams adjust to that, right? And I think the nice thing for the Chargers is, okay, well, if you want to just kind of start, shading coverage towards ARANDA GADSDEN, if you want to start trying to bracket him off the line of scrimmage, okay, well, now you have MCCONKEY, who's one of the most dangerous middle-of-the-field weapons in the entire NFL. So, like, the good thing for the Chargers is if teams start to try to overcompensate for the success that ARANDA GADSDEN has had, it's going to open things up for other guys. So, I don't know if we're going to keep seeing 5 catches, 68-plus yards every week, but I think the good news is, like, if he does have a more quiet game one of these days, it's probably going to be leading to a lot of opportunities for some other guys in the offense.
D-Wade is hard. Like you just said it. It's one of the luxury that this Charger offense has is having so many quality guys at the receiver spot. So it's hard. It's impossible to lock in on one guy because it's kind of like pick your poison, right? Okay, if
Totally.
you want to bracket Lad, okay, we have Quentin Johnson, we have Keenan Allen, and we have ARANDA. If you want to look at Quentin Johnson, okay, now you leave. It's literally a luxury that we have, and it's who do you decide to take away? Because the guy that you do decide to take away, everybody else is just as capable as hurting you as the guy you're trying to take away, and that's not a luxury that a lot of offensive has. So it's a great spot for this Charger offense to be in.
The thing I like today from Lad McConkey, and I'm a fan because I feel like he's just a safe option. 4 of 7 today. It was one of them was just a bad pass from Herbie, but it seems to me like his rack, his run after catch, is starting to get better. It's so big anyway, but it feels like he is becoming more aggressive or more adept at it. He, like when he bounces it to the outside, it's just one of those whoop, to steal the sound effect from Chris Berman, and he just bounces it to the outside, puts that foot in the ground, and accelerates upfield so quickly. I feel like that part of his game is getting better. Now, again, back to the question: is ARANDA GADSDEN, does he have room to improve? Is that KB getting better, or is it just flat out good all the time? The acceleration.
You are who you are, right? And this is what he's shown us, but each and every game that this kid plays, because we can't forget the fact that he is a rookie. You know what I'm saying? Each and every game that he's played, he's going to get better. The more reps, the live reps that he gets, the better he's going to get. It's just inevitable, right? Well, let me not say that, because if you don't get better, you're going to get worse. There's no such thing as staying the same. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. But each time we see this kid, he looks different. His confidence looks different. The way he runs the ball, the intention, the intent that he runs with, he seems very sure of himself. And as long as he's sure of himself and Herbert continues to feed on the ball and this offense continues to highlight him in the spots that they have, this dude is going to continue to get better. So there's absolutely room for him to grow.
My question is a little bit more about McConkey's ability to
McConkey.
add on after the catches. Yeah. Is that getting better? Or to me, it feels like there's a little bit more of him trying to add the rack after the catch.
Well, this is who Lad has been, right? Since day one. I mean, you go back to his Georgia days. This is who this kid is. This kid is a guy he's going to catch the ball, and when he does catch it, he's going to get busy in space. He's going to get yards after catch every single time. That's just who he is. And it doesn't take a large gap between him and the defender. The dude is so quick. It's almost automatic. So this is just what Lad does. Game in, game out. He did it all last season. And he's continuing to do it this season. So this is just a part of his game.
Hey, Daniel, what about that catch and acceleration at the end of the game from Trey Harris? That was nice to see. The way he got tackled and then thrusted for the first down. That was an exciting play.
And it feels like Trey Harris, man, like he's kind of the ultimate watch the game guy. Because I think if you were just a box score watcher, you're not going to realize kind of the dirty work and the big plays that Trey Harris is able to come up with, and like the key pivotal moments. I mean, you go back to last week too, where Justin Herbert scrambling inside the pocket in the red zone, cuts back. Trey Harris cuts back as well, follows his quarterback, and finds himself wide open in the end zone for the touchdown that really kind of put that game away last week. But really what he's been known for is the run blocking and the physicality that he's brought, coming from an offense in Ole Miss that's not really known for that, right? A lot of people wondered how that would translate. And man, like he hasn't been flashy, but it feels like every week, Pete, he has 1 or 2 plays, man, where like he's coming through in such a big way. And I mean, on that play, if you go back and watch it, the Chargers took Quentin Johnston off the field to bring on Trey Harris. That play could have gone to Quentin Johnston, who's one of the better, more physical yak guys that they have. But in that big moment, with the chance to have to punt back to the Titans to let them go potentially tie the game, they brought Trey Harris, the rookie, onto the field. He gets stopped 2 full yards short of the line, or the yard to gain, the first down marker, and he drags 3 Titan defenders to a first down. And I think to Kenyon's point about, and to your point, Pete, about the yak, like, they just have different kinds of yak. Like Quentin Johnston, super physical. When he has a full head of steam, he's really hard to tackle. Ladd McConkey just seems to have the ultimate kind of football IQ, because, Kenon, you don't always want your receivers going horizontally once they catch the football, right? That's not what you're taught all the time, especially if you're close to a first down. If you're going to start going sideways, you better make sure you get that, because if you fall forward, you have it. Ladd always makes the right decisions there. And when he does decide to bounce it, it's always the right call. And then to have Trey Harris as another yak guy, I mean, the only guy that's not a yak guy at this point is Keenan Allen, right? Like, that's pretty much it. Keenan Allen obviously going to catch it and fall down for the most part, but like, they have a different kind of level of these guys now, where it's just multiple playmakers that you can give them the ball short of the sticks and still have confidence that they're going to get that first down. But I think it really goes more to show, Pete, the trust that they have in this rookie who's had to earn it, was not a starter going in, and is kind of increasingly, up to his snap count week by week. But in that third down, with Ladd McConkey on your team, with Keenan Allen on your team, with Quentin Johnston on your team, you're choosing Trey Harris and drawing a play up for him, and he pays it, really makes it so much easier to do that, because you give it to him, he's short of the sticks, and he still finds a way to get that first down.
D-Wade, it's you said it, the physicality that Trey plays with. He doesn't play like a typical receiver. I don't think there's another receiver in that room that plays with the level of determination and physicality that he plays with once the ball is in his hand. He becomes what you would call a heat-seeking missile. He's trying to run through you. He's not trying to get around you. And so in that spot, right, you understand your player, you know your personnel. You know the guy to put in that spot, because I know if he gets this ball, he's going to get north and south. Coaches, teachers all the time, you talk about Ladd, coach would lose his mind saying, knife, 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 get upfield. But with Ladd, it's completely different. But when the ball is in Trey, he carries the ball as if he's a running back. He has that physical, he has a mentality about him to where he punishes defenders where the defender's punishing him. So it's definitely trust, but it's trust that he's earned based off of what he did, even going back to the preseason.
And Keenan Allen continues to be so reliable. I was surprised to see that he was 2 of 5, because it felt like anytime they needed a big catch, a big play for a first down, Keenan Allen was there, as he usually is. Here's an interesting point, because, of course, the big story of today is not the win. Yeah, we kind of all figured, although somebody says, Frank says, trying to defend this Chargers team after playing a 1-7 team is a joke. Hey, let's not forget the Giants game, okay, Frank?
Yeah.
A win is a win, yes, and it was, it wasn't pretty, but you would come away from this one with the W, and we needed it, and that's good. But the bigger story is the injuries. Joe Alt. So Claudia makes this comment, because of course we all are like, why are the Chargers always getting injured? And of course there's no easy answer, but she says Joe Alt needs to stop eating cookies and candy and start eating meat. He's fragile, especially his ankles.
Well, damn, Claudia,
what you mean your body with? Is she right? Or like, I don't know. Do we know?
She's not right. No.
Do we know Joe Alt's diet?
Listen, a man torpedoed into his lower leg. It's not like he was just standing and fell, or it's not like he was everything that has happened to this kid has been contact. The dude plays in the most physical area of the field. Every single play, the offensive line and defensive line are engaging in absolute war. Yeah. This is a part of the game. So let's not dive into dudes' diets and what they're eating. Like, let's not do that, because that's not what this is. Some people are just gifted freaks, right? They can eat what they want, do what they want, and it's okay. Some people do have to eat right, but Joe Alt's diet has nothing to do with a man diving into his ankle.
I think we're all just looking for answers when you get right down to it.
That's not the answer, Claudia.
Maybe she's right. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that I thought that was funny. Chargers get the win, and we'll take it on to face the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. I think the good news is that Omarion Hampton could be back. That's a question, and Joel will more than likely not be. That is a big question there. After the break, a little bit more. We'll go back, talk a little bit more about the defense and some of the special teams today. There we go. I'm not going to forget you. Locked On Chargers postcast. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying I'm so locked into the Dodgers right now. The Locked On Chargers squad show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. All right. Yes. World Series in the books. So it's just one fewer sport for you to bet on, but there's still plenty out there, and FanDuel has options for you. You know, the NFL season is in full swing, NBA season underway, NHL is rolling along as well, and FanDuel has an offer for you that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if that bet hits, you can get $300 in bonus bets. No pressure. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock hundreds of dollars, 300 to be specific, in bonus bets. Here's the good news about that. A lot of times when you're not paying attention and you're just getting started, there's a luck on your side. It's one of these weird things that happens in betting, and you'll hit that first one no problem, and then you'll have $300 to kind of just noodle around and have fun with. It definitely makes watching sports more fun, whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats. FanDuel makes the game more exciting for everyone. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com now to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, the Locked On Chargers squad show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. 27-24 is the Vikings up and the Lions. Wow, that's a bit of a surprise. So yeah, anytime there's two teams playing football, right, KB, anybody can win. So we'll take this win over the Titans and move right on, even though it's a one-win team. Because they could have lost. Look, things were going the Titans' way to start this game. As the announcer said, this is setting up to be an upset special. It could go that way, but the Chargers got it back on track with a better second half, although they scored 13 in the second quarter. I felt the second half was ultimately better for them because it was just a little bit cleaner. As I mentioned earlier, they got the first downs in order, or third downs rather, in order, and played a little bit tighter football. Herbert ran the ball better. 9 carries, 57 yards to lead the way. And from a running game perspective, Patterson and Vidal, 74 yards between those two. But when you look at the special teams, of course, we have Keandre Lambert-Smith returning kicks and Darius Davis returning punts. Darius Davis, Kenyon, continues to just want more. 2 touches today, 9 yards.
You got to get that dude the ball more. He's one of the most electric guys on the field, not just from a special team, from a return standpoint, but he's electric with the ball in his hand. But I don't want to talk about the return game at all. I want to talk about our coverage unit. For the past couple of weeks, for almost the past month of season, you know, your parents always tell you this: don't touch the iron. It's hot. Don't play with fire. It's going to burn you. For the past month of this season, the Chargers special coverage unit has been playing with fire. We have been giving a big return after big return and getting bailed out by penalties. Even at the beginning of this game, we gave up that huge return, but was bailed out by a penalty. And it finally struck with the punt return by DK. Like, this is, you got to hone in. You know, it doesn't get you until it gets you. You give up these big returns and you get a flag thrown. Okay, it kind of sweeps under the rug. But now it's consistently showing up in our coverage units that we're constantly getting just absolutely gapped in the return game. So we got to figure that out, because that can be a problem. If you do score a touchdown in the special teams area of the field, your percentages and your chances of winning that game skyrocket. So we got to get that under control.
Well, let me add some context to that for Kenyon there. Per True Media, the Chargers have the worst punt return coverage unit in the league, allowing 18 yards per punt return, over a full yard worse than everyone else in the NFL. And you might think, well, they're probably a little better defensively as far as their kickoff coverage. Nope, you'd be wrong. No, they also rank 32nd in the league in kickoff return average. Literally, their coverage units so far have been the worst in the NFL. But to Kenyon's point, it feels like it's gotten worse recently. And it's unsustainable. I mean, it's already kind of a new kickoff thing where you're you have a chance in the new way to limit yardage. And today, not only do you give up big returns, but you're kicking it out of bounds on one of them too and giving it to them at the 40. So the special teams didn't catch up to you in this game, but man, that is just a recipe for disaster if you can't figure out a way to fix it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they had the block set up there for DK. It looked really, made it easy for him. I was like, wow, that is
untouched,
just
borderline untouched.
Easy. Yeah. Another special team thing. Go ahead, KB. Sorry.
It's all right. Not all of it is on, especially our punt coverage unit. We talked about this last week about out kicking your coverage, right? Anytime you do that, you set your coverage unit up for failure. You put them in a dangerous way because there's so much space on the field. There's a huge gap of distance between returner and first man down the field. And oftentimes those gunners are being double teamed. So now your first defender down the field is going to be somebody from your box who isn't allowed to leave the line of scrimmage till after the ball is punted. So J.K. Scott has to take, some blame in why this punt return or the punt coverage unit is as bad as it is, because anytime you're out kicking your coverage, it's very easy to get 10, 12, 15-yard returns. But listen, I would have loved to play against this coverage unit when I was playing. If you're giving up 18 yards, I would have had a field day.
Oh, man, yeah.
And you have been eaten.
Devin Hester.
The other issue that comes up seemingly every week, and I thought it was better today, Robert disagrees. How about the effing long snapper? He says put Herbert in to snap the effing ball. Damn, I'm like, what? That's not happening. But I thought it was better today, right? I mean, yeah, he's been questionable. We don't know his name, or if we do, we're not going to highlight him that much.
Rick Lovato.
There you go.
That's my guy. Shout out to my Philly boy.
Yeah, he was with the Eagles last year. Yeah, on the Super Bowl team. But I mean,
right?
I mean, there was one field goal, the first field goal, where it was a really bad snap, and J.K. Scott, who absolutely outkicked his coverage on that punt return touchdown, has done a great job the last few weeks being able to corral that ball and make it kickable for Cameron Dicker. It cost him on the 49-yard field goal they missed last week for Dicker's first miss this season. That was a really bad snap. But I don't know if you guys noticed this. There was one, J.K. Scott that bounced, and another one he caught at his shoelaces. So Josh Harris, the window was activated for him to return to practice this last week. He is their all-pro long snapper. They've been missing all season. Also, a good coverage guy as well. That is something that looms very large for all the injuries the Chargers have. It's crazy to say this, but one of the guys they need back the most is their long snapper because, it didn't cost them today for the most part. But Rick Votto's been a little all over the place as far as consistency and putting that ball in the right spot.
You might have to think about putting JK at receiver the way he's showing him hands.
I want to answer a question here from the Spectre. How can anyone feel good about this win? Because it's better than losing. To steal a word and a phrase from Nuke Lelouch, winning is like so much better than losing. Look, let me give you an example. I went through this World Series with the Dodgers doing, postcast coverage for Locked On. And after the 18-inning game, we thought they were going to roll. They did not. They lost back-to-back games in a very ugly fashion. And I was like, they're done. This is over. They have no chance in hell. And they win game 6. And then somehow they figure out a way to win game 7. And as exciting as it was, the whole time I'm like, there's no way. And I didn't enjoy it as much as I could have because I had no belief. So the fact is that let's just enjoy it because it's a win and it's what happened today, right? That's how I don't know that we're super excited about it. I think that's what we're doing here is we're breaking down what happened and we're saying we're calling out the bruises and
we're talking about today. We're not talking about them winning the Super Bowl this year, right? We're talking about a game and like they've let this game spiral out of control for them so many times. Like go back and look at how many games the Chargers have thrown a pick 6 and had a punt return for a touchdown, and they won that game by a touchdown. Like I get it, but like survive in advance. The Chargers absolutely needed this win, and they didn't win by 21. Would you rather if they lost? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that you'd be right about the team. Like that's no better. But like for today, we're talking about this game. We're talking about the Chargers going and winning a game. We're not talking about their long-term season what they're going to do at the end of the year. We're talking about this one, and the Chargers won.
We're talking about losing. Listen, if you're so disheartened by this team winning games in an ugly fashion, go ask Cleveland Brown fans how they feel about winning. Go ask the Miami Dolphin fan base how they feel about winning. Ask the Tennessee Titans fan base of how they feel about winning and what a win would mean for them, no matter how it came. So
Yeah.
like let's not get, I don't even want to say spoiled, but somehow, some way we're misguided. We're something's wrong. You won the football game.
Right.
Winning
Yeah.
in the NFL is not easy. So
Well,
be
Kenyon,
grateful and
yeah.
be thankful.
I have a big question for Kenyon. It's something I always like to talk with, NFL players about. But like in my limited experience playing, junior college football, when I played football, it was always the same, man. Like there was never a win I ever walked into the locker room saying, man, like we won that game, but like it doesn't feel great. No, like I never did. There was never a time I walked in and, to the locker room was like, oh man, we won, but we should have won by 20, so it doesn't feel as good. Like, no, like to me as a player, it was always a win is a win. Like, and you're moving on to the next week and you think you're going to play better the next week.
Absolutely. A win is a win. You said it. I don't care how they come. And there are times where you walk in the locker room, you got away with one,
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
we shouldn't have won that one, but the bottom line is we did, okay? And we got a win in the win column and not a loss. So yeah, it's come on, fans. Let's get it together.
Yeah, you said it before the show, D-Wade, about the Toronto Blue Jays. They were the better team and they lost, right? So
Choke job.
Yeah, without a doubt, the better team did not win. So yeah, I think at times you take a step back unnecessarily and go, well, they can't win the Super Bowl. Well, you even if they couldn't win the Super Bowl today, no matter what.
Exactly.
So there's
Good
no way
point.
to win the
Good
Super
point,
Bowl when you are 6-3, right? You got to play the whole season. So
it's not like they won because the Titans missed a 25-yard field goal, right? Like the Titans cut it to a one-score game. The Chargers never gave the ball back. Like, the Chargers were on their way to probably scoring another touchdown when that game ended. That would have put them up by 14. Yes, that would have made you feel better. It wouldn't have changed the result at all. I mean, this wasn't a fluky win. Chargers fought back after a terrible start, and they went out there and won the game. That they played well enough after that start to go win, and that's what matters.
The objective of football is to win.
Yep. Our final thought from Robert Garcia. I'm not sure if he's a doctor, but he did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. Alt is only going to miss a week or two. So that's something, although we'd like to have him against the Steelers.
Bye week can't come quick enough.
How he find that information out?
Yeah, he's lying. He's lying, Kenyon. He's just saying what we all wish to be the case. I don't think there's any expertise there. Sorry, Robert.
Positive thinking. Well, here's another positive thing as we wrap up. According to ESPN's matchup predictor, they have the Chargers at a 61.7% chance of winning this game on Sunday night against the Steelers. So
Steelers just beat the Colts.
Yeah.
The Steelers have TJ Watt. You don't have tackles. I don't know. Well, I mean, obviously, we'll get into that matchup but it seems like the Steelers somehow figured it out the week before they play the Chargers, which is not a great sign.
No.
Okay, not. Robert adds on. He's right. You're right, Daniel. He's 100%. He is we like the power of positive thinking, Rob.
We like it. We like it.
For Kenyon Barnner, 10 years in the league, 3 rings. One more thing. Go ahead.
Before we go, would be absolutely remiss to get off this thing and not send our thoughts, hearts, and prayers out to DEON Henley and his family, whose brother was murdered out here in LA, I believe yesterday or the day before. So shout out to DEON Henley for even showing up and playing today, because I couldn't imagine having to compartmentalize the death of my brother and then come play this game of football. So Chargers fans, send messages, DMs, whatever you can to uplift this young man, keep his family in your thoughts and in your prayers, because they'll need it during this time.
Yeah, and a friend of the Locked On Podcast Network, the Dodger fan as well, for you guys, that's great. Now, I mean, DEON, how do you do it, man? Like, how do you do it? Like, there's certain things, obviously you see what happened with Alex Vesia for the Dodgers in that World Series, right? Where, he has one of the biggest moments taken away from him. Like, life happens. These are humans, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? There's no, off switch in DEON Henley's brain that he can just turn off and stop feeling what he must have been feeling today. And I thought he had a really positive game too. So, I mean, to go out there and have that performance, knowing what must be weighing on him, and, multiple times he's given time to the Locked On Podcast Network and the Locked On Chargers show specifically, has always been a great guest for us. Super, sad time for DEON Henley, but man, what a performance by him. Definitely condolences to the Henley family, but man, I mean, just to have that performance, dealing with what he's dealing with is no small feat.
Yeah, 9 tackles to lead the Chargers, 4 solo, 1 sack, and 1 TFL. So great point. Thanks for bringing that up. That's tough. Very, very tough. 4, KENJON BARNER, 3 rings, 10 years. Daniel Wade, check him out with David Monday through Friday, the Locked On Chargers podcast right here on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. I am Pete Fox. You guys have a good weekend, and we'll talk Tuesday. And then again next Sunday night after Chargers Steelers on NBC. Have a good weekend. Take care.